It's been a long road, but Opera has finally hit the decade mark, in version numbers that is. They hit version 10 today with the release of their latest browser. Of course, that wasn't the only announcement that we heard today. Also, Google is partnering with Sony to release Chrome on its Vaio machines. It's kind of a mouthful there, but with all these changes in the browser space, what's new, what's hot, and what's happening? We bring in a couple of technology journalists to talk about it. First off, we bring in Peter Rojas from GDGT. Peter, thanks for being with us.
No problem, my pleasure.
Also, we bring in Dana Wollman from Laptop Magazine. Dana, thanks for being with us as well.
Good to be here.
So with, Opera's been sort of an innovator. They come out with new features that other more open source browsers have kind of taken on, like tabs, for instance, or the speed dial feature. Peter, I saw you Twitter earlier today about Opera. Have you used the new version, and what's kind of your take on the browser wars in general?
So yeah, I downloaded Opera 10 this morning. I haven't had a lot of time to use it just because I've been out running around doing meetings and things like that. But I mean, first impression that it's good. I think the biggest problem right now is it's increasingly difficult for browsers to sort of stand out. I think we really notice when a browser is bad, but it's harder to tell when a browser is really good, right? We can sort of notice when something doesn't work, when a page we like doesn't load, or when it formats a page incorrectly. But otherwise, we just sort of expect things to be fast and load quickly. And so when there are differences in speed, it can be hard to tell. Opera 10 doesn't seem any faster than any of the stuff out there. There is this turbo mode, which is designed to be used when you have a slower connection. And I haven't had a chance to try that out yet. But I'm not sure that it's going to be enough to make the difference for them. They've sort of languished at they've been just a handful of percent, I think a couple percent market share in general for a while now. The mobile version is a different story. They have a lot. I think Opera Mobile is their mobile version of Opera is one of the most downloaded mobile apps of all time. But,
yeah, I mean, exactly. I think Opera's big problem is that they've been able to conquer things like the Wii and Opera Mobile, but they've never really nailed the actual regular web browser experience on the desktop. Dana, which web browser are you using nowadays? And do you see, I mean, what's kind of the important thing for you in web browsers?
I mostly use Firefox. I use Chrome sometimes as well, and I think speed is definitely important, but that can vary from day to day. We've tested many browsers on many different days, and we've had different winners on different days. So I think it depends just as much on the connection as on the technology itself. But for me, it's not so much about features that the software companies pack in, so much as usability. And I think Chrome definitely has a leg up there. I really enjoy the thumbnails that you can see of the different web pages that you frequent. I think that does add value, and I think that does make the web browsing experience more efficient.
So Peter, we heard about Opera coming out today. Was it more of an early adopter thing to want to try and download it, or was there is there anything else that really caught your eye with the new version?
There wasn't anything really specific. I mean, I try to use, I actually try to test out Safari and Opera and Chrome and Firefox. I mainly use Firefox right now, but I do try to see, how all the different browsers work and see if there are anyone's doing anything different. But I was a little curious about the turbo mode, which I hadn't had a chance to try out yet.
Yeah.
But other than that, I mean, it wasn't necessarily anything anything that I thought I really had to try.
So you say you use Firefox typically. What are the important things to you? Dana mentioned that she likes the usability aspects. Being able to see those speed dial pages, things like that. What's the thing that's must have for you?
I think it'd be the plugins. I think that's the thing that really makes the biggest difference for me with Firefox, and being able to get add-ons like Down the Mall, which make it which is like a download accelerator, the toolbars and things like that. They do make a difference, and until Chrome, for example, is able to have kind of parity when it comes to those add-ons, it's going to be really difficult for me to switch to that full time. I mean, I do think that when it comes to, if you live in Gmail and web-based applications, obviously you need to have a browser that's very robust and it's going to load those pages very quickly and very efficiently. I think Firefox actually lags a little bit behind Chrome in that respect, and Safari even. But I think it's at some point, I mean, it's all kind of like a game of leapfrog. Like somebody will leap ahead, then somebody else will come out with a version that comes out a little bit ahead above that. And I think for the average consumer, they're going to use what comes pre-installed with their computer, which is, I think, why you want to talk about the Sony news today.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that brings us right to the Sony point that, Google has teamed up with Sony to basically bundle Chrome. And for a lot of people, Internet Explorer was a thing that they used because they double-click on the E icon on their desktop. Dana, what's your take on this news? I mean, it's going to be basically on every Sony Vaio that comes out, including laptops, of course, which you covered over laptop. Does this change anything for you?
Well, first, congrats to Google. It's a huge win for them. I think up until now, Chrome has really been a hit with early adopters and more tech-savvy folks, but it hasn't caught on so much with mainstream consumers precisely because of what Peter said, that people tend to use what they're used to using. That's whatever happens to be packaged on the OS. Often that's Internet Explorer. People might go out of their way to download Firefox. So it's really a big win for Google in terms of introducing Chrome to a wider audience. But as a technology journalist, it also makes me curious about what Sony's further plans are for Chrome. We've written previously and recently about Sony's integration or lack thereof, just that it's a very siloed company. And I'm wondering if they're planning on using Google Chrome, or I should say Android, as an OS just in other products coming out soon.
Yeah, so maybe using this first, this building block of a relationship is sort of the testing the waters. I don't know, Peter, what's your take on this news?
My take is that Google offered them a bunch of money, and that someone at Sony's PC, at Sony's PC division, made a decision, that helps them increase the amount of revenue they make per unit, and I'm not sure that there's necessarily a big strategic thing there. It just from everything I know about Sony, that the idea that Sony's computing division, their Vaio division, is going to coordinate with Sony Ericsson, which might be doing an Android phone at some point. I'm not saying that Sony Ericsson won't do an Android phone, but I don't see that level of coordination. I think this is purely Google just threw them a bucket of money.
Awesome. Well, we're going to leave it there, guys, because we're out of time. Again, Peter Rojas from GDGT. You can catch them over at gdgt.com. Also, Dana Wollman from Laptop Magazine. They're over at laptopmag.com. You can check them out over there. I'm Randall Bennett for TechV, and don't forget, you can catch us on iTunes. We're on YouTube. We're lots of places, and just catch us somewhere. See ya.